G'day, listeners. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, supshq.com.au. Use BWB15 at checkout to receive 15% off and direct shipping. G'day, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of the Bros with Brains podcast. You're joined by myself, Ben Mayfield Smith, and my co-host, as usual, Scaffy.
Hello.
Welcome to our Christmas special episode. It comes out the day before Christmas. Eve.
Let me get my Grinch hat.
Yeah,
I don't have one, but I should.
I gotta steal something. Maybe ruin Christmas somehow.
Yeah, 100%.
But yes, welcome to by the time you hear this, the day before Christmas. So.
Christmas Eve. Who would have thought?
It's almost like there's a name for it.
You illiterate fuck.
Anyway, how are you, good sir?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Chilling, leading into Christmas. Working, training, playing golf.
Polo, so it's obviously just play golf.
100%. Oh, I just got to stand you up. You're wearing a black polo every episode. I'm gonna have to wear something.
Every episode.
I'm just gonna wear the opposite. I'm just gonna wear a white fucking polo because fuck you.
Remember Spy vs Spy on fucking on Sega?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's exactly what it is. But hashtag sponsored by Nike.
Spy by Spy. Nike.
Yeah, a little bad. I'm just hashtag it in the like in all the notes and stuff. Just sponsor us, Nike. But man, it's been good. Training's been good. Physique's feeling pretty good. It's coming along pretty quick, which is always nice. That little recomp effect that sort of. I guess we're kind of banking on it, to be honest. It's like I know,
work for me, bitch.
Yeah, I kind of know the body quite well. Like I know my own body quite well, and I knew that as soon as I got back into some consistent training, that it'll change pretty quick. And yeah, it's definitely done that. Dropped what 4 or 5 kilos in like a couple of weeks, and that sort of stuff. Obviously, dieting as well, and going a little bit harder on the diet. But yeah, man, it's been pretty good, coming out nicely, which is always nice. So. I've
been getting a few raunchy photos, which always back in the train.
Throw in all the golf tan, and we're good.
For everyone listening, he sent me a photo, and the honest night and day difference between his arm tan was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the beach.
You go to the beach, plugging some golf because it was just like.
I did go to the beach yesterday, but I mean, this light here is not doing me any favors. I did get a bit more of a tan, but anyway.
It was so bad in that photo. I was like, this guy.
Yeah, Doherty's lighting.
Nationalities are coming out.
Yeah, Doherty's lighting doesn't do me any favors, that's for sure. My lighting at home is fucking 10 times better. My bathroom is my posing room.
I need better consistent check-in photos, please.
Oh, please. I'm gonna start bringing up your fucking check-in photos.
Look, I thought the camera was facing that direction.
Fucking can't get in the middle of the frame. Like the fucking one.
Got like
one
this
John.
fucking long. All of these are cameras. So I'm like,
put it on the front camera and fucking look at it, you dickhead.
That's done. That's not the true reflection then.
It's pixelated enough. You're fine.
Nah, it's not. I've got a fucking 14 pixel or a 3 pixel. I'm using the 14.
Get every extra detail.
No, I got to show every extra detail. Make sure it grabs every inch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're gonna try and grab every line you can hang on to.
Exactly right. They're sticking around. They ain't going.
Like, if you zoom in, you can see it. I swear.
There's an ab. If you zoom in on the 14th pixel.
If you get the photo recorrected, it's all good. I swear.
Enhance.
Yeah. Enhance. Yeah. You do all the Super Troopers. If you do all the touch-ups, I swear it works.
Yeah, if we use Adobe and we cut and we edit around a little bit with some Photoshop, I still have a 6-pack.
Yeah, 100%.
Kidding. It's actually going pretty good. I'm happy. I'm not too disappointed. I'll say disappointed. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I mean, what's not to like? You're like 98 kilos lean. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
What do you want?
It's so annoying. I'll wake up, abs still pretty dry. Like, the shower, there's like ab veins. Have a meal, and it looks like I'm like 20 weeks out. I'm like, oh, bruh, come on. What are you doing to me?
Like, you're like I said, you're better at this point in time than you were, like leading into comp. Like, shut up.
At 8 weeks out. What is it now? 7 weeks. 7th week out. Yeah, 7th week out. At this 98, at this many cows, it's not bad.
Yeah,
almost time to start the second comp for season 8.
Yeah, we're getting ready to prep for season 8.
Yeah,
we're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, let's send it now. Fuck it.
Yeah, 100%.
Put all the drugs back in.
Yeah, just send it. Fuck it, all of it. 10 grams.
Yeah, not quite. I got a few people from the season like that I competed with or on stage asking if I was like, "Oh yeah, season B next year." I was like, "Nah, bro. Like,
No.
nah, bro. We got
Why?
games. We got games to
Bad.
make. I got business to. I got uni. I got clients. Prep. The only time prep again will come for me is when life is in a position to handle me prepping again. I've got people under me that can delegate work to, and I've made significant gains. Like if you think about 10 kilo gains in stage weight, and it still was only just enough to win my division, not even come close to the opens. So there needs to be some more gains.
Yeah, like 25,000 kilos of it.
Mm-hmm. Going by
And
Samson Dwyer, then yes, that will be what is required.
oh yeah,
That
true.
is the standard of progression.
The Olympia. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a big weekend. I'll tell you what though, just to jump right ahead to the end, the fucking Olympia streaming service. Oh man, I could punch him square in the face.
Wow, what happened?
So they've gone to the top two, right? So what they did, a little bit different every other time. They brought out everyone one by one, kept them on stage for the top five, and then they've got like I don't know, I think it's top five because Rami got fifth. They had Huddy and Derek come out. Anyway, they're standing there doing their announcements, blah blah, like Psychic talking, getting the whole like Bob's getting all ramped up and excited. As they're announcing it, they cut to a bikini girl interview, and I don't know who's in charge of production or producer, but no one thought to say, "Hey, cut straight back, please, to the fucking announcement of Mr. Olympia." You could hear the you could hear Bob start with "and the new." So like
Yeah, yeah.
as he's announcing it, you can hear in the background that they've just called the new Mr. Olympia, and they're still talking to this bikini chick. Now, I'm sorry, I understand that you just won or placed or done well, and that's cool. The title of the show is literally called Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, like
Cut
one
away
job.
from the announcement.
Yeah, one fucking job.
Literally one job.
You had one
That's
job.
literally the premise of the whole weekend to get to the point of announcing Mr. Olympia. And we're just all
Yeah.
sitting there, just like, is there another link? Is there another click? Like,
Yeah, like what? Yeah, what are you doing? Like fucking seriously?
anyway, but yeah. Besides that, there was a very some surprises, some obvious outcomes, but I mean, fuck me, the size of the show was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we look at the sort of top 15 or top 10 even, it's really, really interesting considering, I guess, how people came in, what they looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised Hunter came in at seventh.
As in, you thought higher or further?
Well, further, he didn't look that good.
Yeah, no, I didn't think he looked that good either.
No, I didn't think he looked seventh.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys where the rage all before the show got him the hype, then come show day, just fell short.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I like Hunter. I like the way his physique does look and presents.
Mm.
Obviously he sort of, I think either him and his team they fucked something coming in
Mm-hmm.
because he looked watery as shit, especially in the morning or whatever it was, the prejudging.
Yeah.
He looked like
Mm-hmm.
crap, and then obviously tightened up for the night show, which
Yeah,
heaps of
well,
them did because Ian was the same. He looked like he didn't look horrible. He just looked
I think
flat.
I think one of the biggest factors was the lateness of the show affected a lot of athletes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, considering it, as in the time you mean, or you mean the time of year?
No, the timing on the day
Oh
because they didn't
yeah,
get on stage till like 11 p.m.
yeah. Still, I mean that's the game, bro.
Yeah, I know, but like when you look at previous Olympias and you're going off like you can kind of guess at shows like when like Ian, for example, when he does the Toronto Pro, that is like an 11 a.m. show.
Yeah,
When you go
yeah,
to like New York Pro, it's a midday, mid
yeah.
afternoon
But
show.
that's also there's only one thing for it. There's no. It's
Yeah,
not a two night. It's like
yeah,
it's not a two event show. Like this is a
yeah.
morning and night. Like that's it's always been that way. It's never changed. Like I don't think the timing of the show could really be that much of an excuse.
I
It's
don't think it's
really
much of an excuse per se. It was like because it wasn't to the schedule. It was definitely like the length of the show. Like you could tell they were kind of hurrying people up because the length of the show got a little bit fastened up. And I think the early bikinis and all that sort of stuff being so many competitors like set it back from obviously when they were told or whatever they were. Because the big complaint was like, well, I'm loading for this time and we're not getting on until this time. If I keep having food, do I spill over? Do I flatten out? Like all that sort of shit comes up obviously in the equation.
yeah. I mean, still the Olympia. You should know better.
Yeah. Expect
Like,
slow.
well,
Expect it to be a big rush.
it's never not been the way it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like in the top 10, what we had, you had Hardy first, Derek second, Nick
Yep.
third, which
Yep.
was pretty big.
Big jump for Nick.
Yeah, like
From
very, very.
fifth after from fifth outside of Hunter to third, 4 places ahead of Hunter.
Yeah, well, he came in even tighter for the night show. That's why as
Yeah.
well. Like Hunter came in tighter, but Nick was just next level tight.
Yeah. Yeah. That I liked there was someone's assessment. I think it was Fuad's assessment after the day show. Nick will struggle to take the top two from those guys as they're starting to reward more structure.
Yeah, their shape just looks better.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
having Derek's vacuum to waist in comparison to his shoulders and legs, like
yeah.
Nick just can't compete with that
No, no,
unless they go back to rewarding just sheer size and condition. Nick won't be able to trump that off Derek.
no, I don't think so either. But then there's still Brandon that's in there. Like he came fourth. Brandon looked fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, but he's just so unbalanced. And like obviously this
Uh,
is critiquing the top guys in the world, but his legs did not come up anywhere near as much as upper body.
no,
Like
but
it just
that's
always
because
gonna
he,
be
that's because he's older now.
yeah,
His legs, and they're going to just start wasting. Like they're just not going to
yeah.
be where they used to be.
And they weren't even
Um,
big to begin with. Like they were always a downsize to like the
yeah,
rest of them.
yeah. He always did struggle with the lower half, but it's like I still don't think it's interesting because if they'd put Brandon in fourth, you'd been like, yeah, okay. Sorry,
Oh
in
yeah,
third.
for sure.
In third, yeah, you'd been like, yeah, okay, like fair enough. Like he looked,
Like it's
good.
cherry
Like
picking the top guys, but by all
yeah,
means, like when considering muscle mass as a part of the criteria, Nick just smoked him.
yeah. Well, this is a funny thing because like Samson came sixth, then Big Ramy was fifth, and I don't think Ramy should have been five.
Oh no, 100. I think it was just
Yeah,
a respect thing to Rami, but
yeah. I think
next year,
Samson should have been literally fifth.
Samson is taking fifth, if not fourth. Like
Yeah,
I'd be impressed if I would have been shocked if they said Samson from Rami to Knicks were interchangeable. Like I wouldn't have been disappointed.
yeah, and yeah. Nick Brandon and
Yeah,
well, I say for me it would have been Nick Brandon and Samson interchangeable, and Ramy would have sat outside that.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I wouldn't have had Big Ramy at five. I would have had him at seven, and that's why it's like Hunter at seven was really strange.
Yeah. And it was interesting to watch because they literally did no comparisons to Rami. It was like once he turned to the back, they knew he was done.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
back just looked woeful. Like I don't know if he's got like neural atrophy or he's got some sort of connective
Well, did you
issue, but
see James? What's his name?
Dennis
He's
James.
Dennis James. He put up the
Yeah.
post about like 1 week out, Ramy looked phenomenal, and it's like, yeah, 1 week out he did. Like, what
Yeah.
fucked his peak? Like, how did you butcher it, or how did
Yeah.
whoever does his nutrition or whatever
But
butcher his peak?
I think there's also the issue with his actual his connection to his tissue in the back because he just can't open up.
Yeah,
Like when
but
you watch his
regardless,
shot,
but the photos the week before he was fine. If he had presented what he had the week before,
yeah,
slap some tan on it, he would have been right. Like he probably would have been top five. Like they put him in five, you'd be like, yeah, okay. But yeah, like he actually went, like he managed to absolutely shrink
yeah,
in his back from 1 week previously to the week of. It's like, how did you lose? Not so much lose tissue, probably lose the ability to show that tissue in a week.
yeah. When you watch the show live, like between transition stuff, he had absolutely no control of opening up. Like for his
Yeah,
back shots, there was just no control to sort of to spread and hit the back winning shots that he needed because like his detail was just so gone in his lower back and his lower lats that it was just like yeah, it was mass, but it wasn't detailed. You put
yeah,
him next to Nick, and it was just like Nick wasn't as thick, but just so etched in. And I was like, that
yeah.
can't compete. You can't compete
Nah,
with that.
the lines are so much deeper in Nick than they are like in Rami.
Yeah.
But I still think Samson should have finished well higher than fucking
Oh
Rami.
yeah. I'm throwing it down to them just giving due diligence to like a former Mr. Olympia,
Nah,
but
fuck him.
I don't think it's
Shouldn't.
ever gone from like first to seventh. So I think it's maybe that. But I mean, at the end of the day, if it's just based on fucking actual what was presented, Samson could have been fifth, fourth.
Yeah,
Like he had every pose. Like when you watch the actual live show, Samson was attacking Brandon Curry. Like every shot where they were posted next to each other, he was just like a dick's length away from him, hitting
yeah,
every shot. Every shot he did, he was hitting, outsizing him, out conditioning him, out fucking transitioning him. His posing was better, his flow was better. So it's like to me, that was a good sign that he deserved to be fourth. Like he
yeah,
smoked Curry.
yeah. I agree. He looked fucking way better, and that's why like it confuses me when you go from like 7 to 10. They've got like Hunter at seven, which I still don't. I didn't like. I don't see how Hunter was seventh.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Jack at eighth, I'm not too mad about. I'd probably even have Andrew Jack at seven over Hunter.
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah, I like. Andrew looked fucking phenomenal. He just obviously needs more size, but he looks good. Like,
little more maturity in his back. Like there wasn't
yeah,
as much dryness in his back shots. Like could be a
yeah.
little bit more condition.
But the thing
But
is, his back
overall,
looked better than fucking Rami's.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
saying something considering Andrew Jack's weak point is his back.
Yeah,
You know what I
100%.
mean? Like, but then they had Bonac at 9. I'm like, hold on. He
Yeah,
looked good.
he did look good, but when you watch the live shows, his midsection was fucked.
He's always been blocky because of his lat insertions.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that. It was actual like distended control in his midsection that was like noticeable. There was
Fair enough.
like struggle to pull in. Like when he was hitting shots, it was great, but there was struggle to like whether it was herniated or whether something's just like displaced now. There was like proper, almost like bulging in his abdominals. It was like, okay, that's not former Bonac.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
But like, but the one I was surprised with was fucking Ian.
well,
Like,
he came 11th.
yeah, to go from 7th to 11th.
Yeah, well, you had like Rafael Brandao at 10, and then
Yeah,
Ian at 11.
I didn't see Brandao beating Ian.
I think once it gets to that point, I don't think like really, I don't think they care too much. I feel
No,
like
I
it's just
don't either.
like, yeah, I feel like it's just like, eh.
Which is bullshit because like each point matters, like each place there matters to their career, like the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Ian going from top 10 to like outside top 10 makes a big difference. Rafa being in top 10 versus outside top 10 is a big call. So like, because like I'm pretty sure they don't even place you outside 16. So there's 24 guys.
no, it's
And there
top
was, like,
15. It's a top 15, and then everyone else.
yeah, and then everyone else is 16. You're like, wait,
Yeah,
how the fuck does that work?
yeah. Well, because they all well, they I don't think you get points.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
it's
no
just
points. You
everyone.
didn't win a
Yeah,
point for a shot or what have you. Like that was just all 16.
yeah, literally, and it's just like, well, yeah, because you had Ian at 11, then you had what's his face, Michael Krisnick.
Yeah, Krisnick was 12, then
Yeah,
Hollingshead was like 13 or 14 or
nah,
something.
Patrick Johnson was 13.
He was too. Yeah,
Charles Griffin at 14 and Justin Rodriguez at 15. So it's like Hollingshead, Antoine, what's his face, the boogeyman, like none of them blessing, never like Nick, none of them came
yeah.
in top 15. Like,
Which is fucking saying something because James is a good bodybuilder.
yeah, again, he just didn't come in on point.
But
it's just
I mean,
second time he's done it. He hasn't like he's trying to find this balance between holding size and then pulling in condition, but it's like he could afford to lose a touch of size as long as he comes in diced.
he was thick as fuck.
Yeah,
Like
he could come in flat, but if he's
yeah,
flat and diced, he's gonna be it'd be pretty hard to fucking like look up, like take your back on. Like he looks fucking mad.
yeah. If you got to a point where he was coming in absolute like yeah, flatten out, get a little bit of a pop. Like he's sitting there like I watched some of his day of videos, and he was carb loading for the Olympia on like 1,000, 2,000 carbs, whatever it was. He's like, oh, I'm still flat. I won't. I'll probably add some more. I was like, you don't need that much. Like your mass, like take the cut, lose the extra 10 pounds, come in shredded as fuck, and then just pop a little bit, maybe one day of high carbs, and you'll be so round and conditioned that just being conditioned makes the roundness even better.
Yeah, exactly right. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was an interesting Olympia, that's for sure. Just especially on the first viewing where it's like the people that I guess you not you'd expect, but you'd hope or anticipate would do well, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, you fucked up, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
The
what happened there?
the talking like I'm not a fan of this new press conference style though. Like it's so cringy. Like the force like one-to-one talks and walkouts and shit. Just put them on the chairs, let everyone talk, ask them questions, and move on.
Yeah,
Like there's like
100%.
this weird little like try and do like a McGregor versus Mayweather like press conference shit. It's fucking weird. You're
Yeah.
trying to like construct and instigate these fights and these like rivalries that aren't real. Like
Yeah, well,
Blessing's
it's
just
like,
talking shit. No one cares what Blessing has to say.
but he even says it though. He says he
Yeah.
just enjoys like the fun. He finds it fun, and it's like the
Yeah.
people that he engages with also enjoy it. Like when it was him and Nick, like it was pure fun for them.
Yeah.
It's like cool, man. You can't argue that because they're both just doing it for shits and giggles.
Yeah. It just
Like
comes across
Antoine
crazy.
and fucking James Hollingshead running off stage at the end because they were kicking him off. Like
Yeah.
it's just funny. Like it's just entertainment because at the end of the day, it's still still has to have, I guess, an element of entertainment, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right.
Otherwise, people aren't going to watch it. They're not going to care.
Well, yeah. And like the interesting part, the expected winner, like Sean Caridia, he was never not going to win 2-1-2.
Oh, yeah, it's funny. I like again. I know personally, I really don't like his look. I just don't like it, and it's just a personal thing. I just don't like the way he looks.
Yeah.
like he's so fucking short and bubbly. And don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I know he's conditioned like as fuck. I
Oh,
get
it's
it.
a fucking
Yeah,
maddening
it's a joke.
condition.
I know it's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Yep.
How good he actually like looks. I don't know, something about his structure I don't like. I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just his head. Maybe it's because he's bald. I don't know. Something about him, like the way he does his front double, and you're just like, nah, I don't know. Something about it. I don't like it.
I don't like his obviously there's nothing you can do about this, but he's really, really thin insertions. Like he just
Yeah.
has like everything is very narrow and thin, like round as fuck muscle bellies, but the insertions are just so tiny and thinned out. It just looks, I don't know, it just throws me. I'm not I like him. I like him. I like his work ethic and his grind.
Oh,
Like he
100%. Yeah.
it's fucking insanity. Like his way to go from like 120 pounds amateur to like 180 on stage, which sounds small to most people, but 60 pounds of lean muscle tissue gain is fucking huge.
Yeah, like definitely not taken away from his, his ability to work and do things. It's just I don't
Yeah.
know, something about like I'm looking at it like on him, looking at him on Instagram, just something about his physique. I just don't like it. Don't know what it is. I'm wondering like how much synthol he's put in his delts.
Yeah. They are fucking round and full.
Like, maybe it's that. I don't know. There's something that just doesn't sit. You just look at it and you're like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway. I mean,
The thing
obviously,
is, too, is like
it doesn't matter what I think because he won.
that's true. Yeah. But
I
like,
mean, don't get me
where
wrong.
do you go from that?
Well, that's it. I do think he should have won the 212. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anyone in
Yeah.
the 212s was going to get close to him. Literally,
Mhm.
like classic when like Bumstead walks out and you're like, ah, okay, well, let's skip this division. Like,
Yeah.
just give him the trophy, give him the
Yeah.
money, move on. Like,
Yeah. It's like
don't
Phil
worry
for
about
his first 5 years was like, okay, this is dominant.
yeah, like don't worry about posing. Like, don't worry about it. Just give
Yeah.
him the fucking thing and
Pretty
get him
much.
out. Like,
And like looking at Chris, like I'm curious, and I was saying this on Saturday when we were watching it or Sunday. I wonder where the point in time will be where the love for the underdog grinder hard work mentality that he boasted about, and now that he's become rich and successful, I wonder when the fan favorite popularity will dissipate, because it always happens. There's always a tipping point where it goes from being like, I loved Chris from the start to like, oh, Chris is a dick now. Like there's always that turn phrase point where the continual winner just gets that like,
I
oh,
don't think
they,
that's going to happen though because he's just one of those people you can't not like.
yeah,
I think that's what will keep him like in the good books with everybody. I can't see people not like him just because of the way he is and because you can see that on like social media and his
yeah,
Instagram on YouTube
yeah,
and
he's
all that sort
very
of stuff. Yeah,
transparent about it, right?
yeah, like you know what I mean. I feel like that's why I think even he could win another 10 and people are going to be like, oh, like they're still going to want him to win,
Yeah.
every year type thing.
The thing is too, like the I don't think people realize like how much everyone looks great in isolation. I look like a fucking pro bodybuilder in isolation. Like when you see photos of me at the gym and I was like 2 weeks out, you could easily be like, oh yeah, this guy's going to go pro because no one else is around. The
Yeah.
second you put him next to like everyone started saying like Urs is coming up and Rafa is coming up.
Yeah.
And then you actually put them next to each other and it's
yeah,
like,
you're like, nah.
you've got maybe one or two parts that are close, but then there's just like the rest, like all over those, just so
Honestly
far off.
though, when you look at it this year, what parts did anyone have close to Chris?
Yeah, no,
Like literally, like last year, yeah, 100%. I agree. Like last
I
year,
don't
he
know what
was
happened where
he.
Terrence has gone so far backwards.
Oh yeah, no, he did horrible. But it's because I think he was just like undercooked, underdone. It just looked like he wasn't conditioned. So
Oh yeah, he wasn't like
yeah, his
the,
feedback was he needs to be tighter. And it's like, well,
the
fuck.
difference between him and Chris this year in condition was like night and day.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Terrence was still 4 weeks out with drug use.
yeah. The thing is, I think I don't know because again, like a week out, Terrence looked bang on, like ready to go and give second through fourth maybe a really good run for their
Yeah.
money, never coming first. And then I don't know, the peak again seems to have got him, but like again, like last year you look at Chris versus Terrence and you're like, okay, well the back photo maybe Terrence took him or like
Mhm.
whatever photo, whatever pose you want to pick. But then this year, like every pose,
Mhm.
Chris beat everyone, like
Yep.
hands down,
Oh, without question.
easily. Like I like there was nothing. It's just like he hits his front side and back relaxed, and you're like, yeah, he wins. And then you're like, front double. You're like, yeah, okay. Like
Yep.
side chest, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Back double, yep. He's got that one. Like
It's so domineering and big about it. Like just
yeah, like
his
abs and
height.
thigh, and then you're like favorite classic. You're like, yep.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, like, and everyone's like talking about Urs coming up. Don't get me wrong, Urs is a phenomenal bodybuilder.
Oh, yeah,
Like 24, 25.
yeah.
It's fucking unreal.
Yeah.
But like, every shot he has is like 5 years of muscle maturity away from Chris.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's just it. He's just a timing thing. I think Urs will win one.
Yeah.
It's just when, like,
Yeah.
and it won't be until Chris is ready to step away.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Chris's reign will go until he's bored.
Yeah, until he just doesn't want to do it anymore. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's it. Done. See you later.
Yeah. And he announced it. He did announce at the shows, like everyone keeps talking about me quitting or like this is my last one, is whatever. He's like, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Good.
Yeah. Like just give everyone else another chance to come second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. The second they all heard that, was like, oh fuck, I'm going for silver.
yeah. Yeah. Like, oh fuck, man. Like the thing is, like with Chris, he's still got what, a couple of kilos in his weight cap as well. I think he's got like,
Oh, he had to make depletion. But
no,
he
but apparently
depleted.
when he weighed in, I think he weighed in, like he said, he had a couple of, I think he had 3 or 4 pounds spare, which is a kilo
Yeah.
to 2 kilos. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, it's not like it's much.
Yeah.
But again, you put a couple of kilos in the right spot, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
like you notice that.
Yeah. Or like, especially if like you're like a kilo more condition with a kilo more fucking muscle mass,
Well, that's it.
makes a big fucking
Yeah,
difference.
like he doesn't have to. He could literally go through the entire year on maintenance, training, maintenance, everything, and come in just diced, and you're like, he's
Yeah.
gonna win. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing could be, no one could beat him.
It's interesting how you would stay motivated for that, because like you're so good and so done that like your intensity has to back off. Like you have to actively almost slow down to
Well,
stay.
yeah, I mean, I guess from a training perspective, you just phase it. You can still push training hard. It just means
Yeah.
you're probably not going to be pushing maybe, your anabolics as much, or you're not going to be pushing nutrition as much. You're not going to go through a growth phase. You're going to be on maintenance cows and pushing training hard. So, like you have all these different methods that you can play with. But yeah, it's just like he doesn't have to do anything. He could
Well,
literally do
spends
he literally
he's
could do what Rami should have done and done nothing, and then done basically a Kevin Levrone and trained for 4 months, got really
Yeah.
fucking diced, and
Well,
come
he
in and
does
ready to go.
he does 3 months post comp every Olympia
Yeah, and
with
does nothing.
nothing.
Yeah,
Life phase, health phase, off drugs. Courtney gives
yeah,
him all his natural organic food and shit, and eats his fucking stevia free this and that.
yeah.
But like, yeah, his first 3 months post comp is like literally nothing. And here's me being like, can I get off stage and train straight away, please? I need to grow.
That 100%, just like next day, time to go.
Yeah. I need time in reserve to keep growing. This motherfucker's like, I need to waste time. I'm too good.
Yeah, he's like, well, 100%. Like, what do you do at that point? Like,
Legit. What do you do?
yeah,
You
I
just
mean,
too
well,
good.
that's the thing though. He can chill out. You can take 3 months instead of taking three
Yeah.
months. You can take 4 months if you wanted to. You know what I mean?
Which I think in bodybuilding is why you get such a reign from a lot of consistent bodybuilders, is like they're the pro, the winner, the overall champion of those shows, obviously doesn't have to compete in the rest of the season to qualify. So therefore can spend the rest of the year, plus the money, plus the investments, plus all the sponsorships, to basically just get paid to train when they're ready to,
Yeah.
and sort of stay healthy and backed off where they have to.
Yeah, just
Whereas
do your,
like a lot of guys, like they have to do the year on year, show to show
Yeah.
competing to get their way out there. Now, obviously, the guys that did that like back in the day, like even Ronnie had to do the early shows to get to as big as what he was. But you can see why when we understand how stress plays its roles in the physique and its appearance in your body, how continual dieting affects you. If you're doing like a January show and you then have to come back and do a fucking December Olympia, like you're almost in a perpetual diet phase for like 8 months of the year.
yeah, it's an interesting one in that. Well, that's why a lot of them try to qualify like last minute and then get straight in.
Yeah.
And go, yeah, and just basically they're already there, dieted down. But or you just do what like Brett Wilkin did and do like the earliest show that you can qualify
Yeah.
and take
Now
the
you
rest
got
of
like
the year
6 months to grow.
Yeah, yeah, he's got heaps time. But yeah, someone like a Chris, it's like you do get to chill for like that 3 months, 4 months,
Mhm.
because you've already qualified. Yet some of the guys that do qualify, like your thirds, fourths, and fifths, they still need to work. Like they
Yeah.
don't have that ability just to chill out. Like they'll
Yeah.
like a Samson, for example. Like he still needs to put in work. Nick probably still needs to put in some work. Like Brandon in theory would be needing to put in work on his legs, but he probably won't. And all credit to him. He doesn't need to do anything. Brandon can retire now, and he's still going to be one of the better bodybuilders that's gone around.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. It'd just be interesting to see like what happens where with who
I'd
going
be
forward. Because there's a couple of comps coming up in the next couple of weekends, I think, as well. So I wonder those coming out of the Olympia, which ones will go for
yeah.
like for a qual now.
Regan did that I think 2 years ago. Did that exact
Yeah, it was
thing.
smart. It was 100%. He did it for Didn't he do it for this one, and then he decided not to compete in this one because he
Yes, he
wants to be
did. Yeah,
bigger? Yeah,
because it
he
was
did it
Romania.
at the end of
He
last
did.
year's one.
Yeah, he did end of last
Yeah,
year's, then went straight to like it was a
he,
European show,
yeah, he
and
did
he did it.
whichever one when Clarita won. Like fuck off. And then he
Yeah,
did the one, and then he did the one after it. And that's when he
and then he
just
went to
joined.
Japan.
Yeah, it's the ones that he had just joined Milos, and then
Yep.
competed, got his pro card, and then he just took time off, and then basically realized, oh, I'm not big enough yet. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
It was a good call.
Yeah. And it's like interesting how many pros don't make that assumption.
Yeah,
Like you got a following, you got the likes, you got the reacts, it's all good, but like you still need a grow season. Like you're not in the top 5, top 10. You still need that growth phase. And
yeah,
when you're in the top 10, you still need to be growing.
yeah, 100%.
Doing like year on year preps for Olympia, where you're on like I think he did like 6 months of not coming off dieting. It was like
Yeah,
Olympia and then do another show, and then another show. Then he's like, yeah, I'll take 3 months off, work with Milos, but it was 3 months off on zero carbs.
yeah. Well,
Like,
it was like Milos's philosophy when he was bodybuilding because he never won an Olympia, did he? He
no.
just but he to him because it was a paycheck and a job. It's like he was like, no, I'm going to compete in all the shows that I can because I need to make
Yeah.
money. So that's the only reason why he really like competed so often. But that's
Mhm.
why he never really improved. Like
Yeah.
he got to his peak, and then when you look at his peak physique, it didn't really change. He never got bigger, never got any extra lean or anything like that. Maybe
Yeah.
here and there, like got a touch leaner for a show or whatever, but
Mhm.
it was because he was literally competing, every 2 or 3 weeks, and he'd do it for like a season of competing, so he could make
Mhm.
money. And it's like, well, I mean, that's one way to go about it,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's not going to yield you, I guess, the result that you need getting an Olympia title. Like, but anyway,
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a but yeah, there's a good question. I think it was 2 weeks out. The bro chat was down in Texas. There's like Benny, Justin, Hunter, and like Benny's training camp that he had going on. And they were saying, where do you think some of the last couple of years of like, or like the early 2010s, sort of like that Generation Iron sort of crop? It's like, where do you see them fit? Like, where do they fit in this lineup? And it's like,
yeah,
you look at that lineup, you got like, Branches, Dennis Wolves, Kai, Dexter, Phil, who else was there back then? Like Randy was obviously coming his way up, but like not even in the equation yet. And like 2011 to 2015 crowd, like where do you even put them in that top 20 just then? Like
100%.
where do you put them? Like Phil's smoking everyone, but at the same time, like his condition, it wasn't as good as Huddy's.
Nah, I mean,
And
it
like
is.
Derek's taper smoked Phil's stomach in midsection.
Yeah, I mean, I guess how far back you want to go, right?
Oh yeah, someone Hunter looked at Fuad's photos. He's like,
Yeah,
let's go with me in like 2000 and I think
yeah,
it was
yeah,
2011. He's
yeah,
like, where do you fit me? He's like
yeah,
15. And he's
15.
like 12 to 14. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, that's about where I'd put me as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, you look at the lineup in this Olympia 12 to 14, and who was in there? Fucking Ian.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
11 to 15. Ian, Charles
yeah,
Griffin,
yeah.
fucking
Like, yeah. Charles Griffin, Justin
Justin.
Rodriguez, Patrick
Yeah,
Johnson. You're like, man, you've beaten them. You've done pretty fucking well, bro.
yeah, it's not a bad number to have.
No, no. Like, I'd take that. But
It's weird how it's weird, and we've talked about this before. The way people perceive, like when you look at the top 20 or the top 10 in the world or something, and yeah, we all get to sit here and criticize them, but it's like, yeah, we're criticizing the best of the best for the finest detail difference. Like,
yeah.
it's not saying, hey, you're shit. It's like you're in the top 15 of the world, but at that point, you have to pick you apart.
Well,
But you're
that's
still top 15 in the world. Like,
yeah.
there's only 14 other people better
Well,
better than you in the world at what you
the
do.
thing is, you are comparing them to the other best people in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not
Yeah,
comparing them to like your everyday gym bro.
yeah, exactly right. Like you're in the conversation of the best of the best.
Yeah.
That's still a fucking achievement.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny because as soon as Hardy walked out, you're like, yep, Hardy's winning it. Surely, like if they don't give it to him this year, it's a pure robbery.
Oh
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there was no way he wasn't taking that. Like even with Derek, like Derek looked phenomenal. And he
Derek was
walked out.
close.
Yeah, well, yeah, he walked out. But I don't know. You look at Hardy, you look at Derek, and you're like, Hardy's like he's just got him. He just looked better. He looked
Yeah.
more conditioned, more lean.
If Derek can keep this like this shape and come
Yeah,
in
and just and add size.
add some size, like
Yeah,
a little bit more condition. Like obviously that's every goal of every bodybuilder,
of
but
course.
like for him, just that couple percent difference of like a few extra pounds, but also pull down a few pounds of condition. Like he was talking about being like, I'm bone dry shredders. Like, nah, your chest has got a bit more work to come out. Like there's
Yeah,
a few spots you could have pulled some water
the
out.
funny thing is he's never actually. I can't remember seeing him have like a fully striated chest. Like
Neither
even in his
neither did I.
yeah, even in his 212, like he's always had this big barrel chest. There's no real crazy like contraction striations
Yeah,
type
there's not.
scenario. Like, yeah, which I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not dry enough. It could be that he just doesn't have that ability. Like it could be that his chest doesn't do it. The funny thing is, it doesn't work to it like a negative for him. It still looks
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Like yeah, you know
yeah,
what I mean. It still
yeah.
works. So you
That
kind of like
fullness look on him does look good.
yeah. So it would be interesting. Like it'd be interesting to see if Derek had come in like a couple of pounds lighter and more conditioned, even in this one. I think it would have been interesting. I just don't
Yeah,
think he would have taken it away from Huddy, just because
yeah. I
Huddy
think
looks more complete.
Huddy's maturity,
Yeah,
the condition that he had at such a mature level of mass
yeah,
for his height was just like, oh man, fuck.
yeah. Exactly right. And he came in literally. He came in probably the same, if not a touch more dice than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like fuck, man. Like, what more could he have done? you know?
It's good. I'm seeing it as a good thing. Like it's interesting to see the Olympia go overseas so much, considering it's been just purely American for so long.
Yeah.
And like obviously getting into that Middle Eastern realm, like it's gonna be good for marketing and outreach and stuff like that. But I think Hardy has to do a lot more for Olympia this year than what Rami's done, because
Well,
Rami has just been fucking nowhere.
it would be interesting to see if he goes back to Iran, because there's some political shit going on in Iran, and he made some comments obviously in favor of um was it in favor of the shit, something to do with violence. It was in favor of, like, it was a positive effect. I can't remember what it was off the top of my
Oh,
head.
I wasn't about the female abuse that's
Yeah, I
going
think
on,
so.
like
Yeah,
women's
saying
control over there.
things like that. So saying that
Yeah, it's like yeah, because I remember
he was
his
obviously
friend being like,
against
"We're
against it, and
yeah,
if
yeah." His
yeah
interpreter friend was like, he's against. Fuck, what did he say? He's like, we're all human at the end of the day.
yeah,
Like,
like the
get along
traditions
with
of whatever.
peace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then people were saying like celebrities and stuff in Iran were being like arrested and shot and
yeah.
stuff. So be interesting if he can even go back, because if he doesn't go back, then I guess he'd be doing potentially more, I guess, work around the world, potentially the
Yeah.
US and stuff like that, with the whole Olympia stuff. So it'd be
Hmm.
interesting because yeah, like Rami was big, obviously, in the Middle East
Hmm.
when he was, Mr. Olympia. So it's like, yeah, he didn't do much, I guess, in the Western world per se, like America and stuff. But he yeah, was still pretty big in the Middle East. Like they love him there. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there was like a fucking like a uh almost like a parade when he came back
yeah,
with the first Olympia to Egypt. That was
yeah,
like
yeah,
end of the fucking the world was ending basically. They were that fucking excited.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, we got Christmas coming up. Then we got
Yeah.
fucking 20 minutes left to chat. We got Christmas coming up. We're gonna hear the same bullshit from everyone all the time. So
Make
I mean,
sure you don't calorie bank. Make sure you enjoy your food. Make sure that even if you have goals, that you don't worry about them and you just eat all your weight.
memories over macros and memories over tracking and
Yeah,
experiences over
yeah,
ownership and
yeah. And it's like I think Ben Scott had put up. It's like, yeah, memories over macros until those memories are really bad and you continue to remember them, which
yes.
is a fair point, because it's like, yeah, if, you don't want to remember ruining yourself. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's really hard, really, really, really hard to fuck up your like whole physique goal, whether that be a diet or whether that be a growth phase. Eating on Christmas, let's say,
Yeah.
for example, eating one day, like it's really hard to eat like that much food that it's really gonna fuck you up. Like
Mhm.
honestly, it is truly difficult. Like if you've done that, I'm impressed. Like you've done well. In saying that, it's more so, I guess, the mindset around it, right? And then how much freedom do you give yourself after that? It's
Mhm.
like, oh, it's Boxing Day. I've got another Christmas function. I'm
Yeah.
just going to eat. Oh, it's the 27th. I've still got another Christmas function. I'm going to eat. Oh, it's Christmas Eve. I got to do something. Like, how often do you sort of let
Yeah.
yourself get away with it and don't keep yourself accountable?
So this is where I chime in because I get the premise of memories and situations and it being so hard to like use one bolus of calories to get so blown out. But at the same time, my problem comes when we start to find reasons or ways to rationalize and validate irresponsibility and not taking ownership of decisions you made, and then leading to further decisions. Like you've suddenly you start to like to condition yourself that holidays are an excuse for lack of ownership and decision making, and therefore any event becomes an excuse to write off or simply doesn't matter. Now, if there's fucking 20 holidays in the year, and you start to tell yourself that, well, memories over fucking macros and memories over results and memories over like dieting because dieting isn't fun. So why should I do it? And I'd rather have those memories. You've got fucking 20, 30, 40, like where is the bottom line where you stop telling yourself this day is okay to not be accountable to my macros or tracking?
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things. It's like it's always within reason, right? And then, again, it's not saying that you can't enjoy yourself. Let's say we use Christmas Day as the example because obviously that's what's coming up. Like you can't turn around and be like, oh, on Christmas Day, I'm just going to eat anything and everything because even if you did, it's kind of like, what's that going to do? Probably not much because it's literally just going to be food volume in your stomach. It's kind of like if you have a weigh-in the next day because you're competing on Boxing Day, then it's probably a problem. Um, but in saying that, it's like you're not going to be able to really do any real detriment. And I think that's where a lot of these sort of comments and posts and all that sort of come from. It's kind of like, well, we know that a bolus of calories, provided you have every other sort of facet ticked off, isn't going to be detrimental. If anything, it can be positive. But again, it's just the mentality towards it. It's like, okay, well, on Christmas Day, I'm not going to do this, this, and this. I'm just going to sort of enjoy myself, enjoy the memories, create them, blah, 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 because I know I've had everything else ticked off. And I know that as soon as Christmas Day is done, it's back to work.
Yeah.
Which, again, if you're doing that, never a bad thing. It's more so if you're having Christmas Day every day for a week, well, then we have a problem.
Yeah. And, suddenly if because we used to joke in my family, my sister would be like, oh, it's my birthday month. And so
exactly. Yeah,
when you start to have that
yeah.
sort of mentality, and because we know, and I wrote an article on this not too long ago because I got so sick and tired of seeing the New Year, New Me bullshit and the New Year goals, that sort of jazz. We see the research quite clearly. The weight that is put on between Thanksgiving and January 1st, though it's not significantly like the overall like per day, and this is the argument that comes from, it's like, oh, the weight doesn't really increase that much on average of the populace, like we don't really increase that much overall. However, the 3 to 5 kilos that is statistically put on in that time frame from Thanksgiving to Christmas is not lost the rest of the year. So what we're seeing is you're justifying these choices and all these events and holidays and like they're large boluses of calories. I think the average American Thanksgiving is 6,000 calories per day. Now you work that out, then there's Halloween, there's Thanksgiving, there's Christmas, there's all the Christmas events, there's like your work parties, your drink parties, then there's like Christmas Day, Boxing Day, fucking New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, all that sort of jazz. Now, one of those days is fine. That's great. You've managed to work to a point where like I can justify a diet break, a refeed, a fucking free meal, just simply calorie bank, save calories, eat more on the day, skip protein earlier and fucking whatever. There's a million tools to skin a cat. I've got 10 different clients doing 10 different ways for Christmas. But the problem is that weight isn't coming off. And that's what's leading to obesity epidemics and problems, is that we've got you work out 10, let's say you're from 20 to 30, where we really start to decrease in activity because we go from like school every day, playing sport, playing lunchtime.
Yeah, of course, back to adult life.
The adult life where shit slows down. On top of that, you go on these boluses from like October to December where you're putting on like 10% of your yearly weight gain in the space of like a week.
Yeah.
But then it's not coming off. So then you replicate that again the next year and the next year. Suddenly, 3 to 5 kilos that isn't a big deal because memories over macros and do what you want is now 20 or 30 kilos in 10 years' time that you haven't got rid of.
Yeah. I guess the funny thing, not the funny thing, I guess on the flip side to it, it's like, in a sense, we'd probably be a bit more lucky here in Australia that our Christmas is in summer. And it's like most, I think, conventional Christmas feeds are things like, meat on a barbecue and that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's not as, I guess, calorie heavy or calorie dense.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like compared to like America and stuff where it's obviously much more cold.
Yeah.
Most parts of America anyway. So they obviously have, I guess, an inclination to, I guess, more fattier type foods because it's more warm and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Whereas you usually, touch wood, we have like warmer summers and warmer Christmas days. Barbecues, salads, like a lot of fruits, like, pavlova, like all this sort of stuff that comes out where it's really not that bad. Like it'd be really hard. I'd be really impressed to see someone eat, I think, 6,000 calories at an Aussie Christmas, like an Aussie Christmas.
No, I agree.
And not intentionally eat it, like not be like, I'm going to eat everything because I'm going to eat 6,000 calories. Be like, eat some of everything that comes out. I'd be very curious to see how many calories that actually came out to.
And that's a really easy way that I use that system to get people to make better choices. So like the easiest way I do it is say like, nothing's off limits on Christmas Day. Like, let's say you're just simply in a growth phase or you're in a fucking whatever phase you're in. We still have goals. The day doesn't become nonchalant about goals just because it's a Christmas day. We still have outcomes we're trying to achieve. I'd be ridiculous as a coach taking your money to say, hey, fuck that day. Don't worry about it. Like, let's not have any plans or strategies because, it's a day. So therefore tracking's bad. There's 364 other fucking days. Do we not track those as well? Or take care of those? In this day, though, like let's say that, your family's pretty big on gathering around and everyone has a fucking plate in their hand and you're weird if you don't. Okay, cool, fine. We're not going to bring Tupperware and fucking chicken and rice to, Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner or Christmas breakfast. But what we can do is implement some fucking strategies and some plans so you can take ownership of your results and your responsibilities to still be adherent to the outcome you're trying to achieve. Easiest way for me to do that is the likelihood of, as we just said, of binging on calories on Christmas Day when there's such diversity of meats and protein sources. First three things I do with clients. If we're not going to track anything and you just simply want to be able to eat and enjoy your day, make sure your plate has at least a fucking third of the plate as protein, if not more. The next chunk of the plate should have fucking vegetables like oven roasted veggies, fucking starch potatoes and carbohydrates. If those are your veggie sources, go to town. Oven roasted onions, carrots, capsicums, tomatoes, fucking potatoes, sweet potato, pumpkin. The likelihood of being able to overeat sweet potato, pumpkin, and fucking charisma potato is impossible. Yeah, like, so fucking full.
Yeah, like good luck.
do that.
Yeah.
Once you've done that, that's like my first three rules. Once you've done that, good luck trying to overeat desserts.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's like you flip it and do it the other way. Have like a ton of salad. Like have a bowl of salad. Like good luck.
Yeah,
like good luck. Like enjoy. So that's why it's kind of like it's funny with everyone's like memories, like the whole principle of memories over macros. And it's like I get it, but at the same time, it's like you almost don't even need to say it because what is it that you're eating on Christmas Day that you need to be worried about as well? Like,
yeah, like to me, that's you trying to rationalize a binge excuse when you get home, or like, there's a tub of ice cream. I'm gonna have all 3 liters of it.
Yeah,
like
because it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what it becomes, right? Like
this is how I celebrate. This is how I celebrate my Christmas because chocolate and ice cream. It's like no, bro.
To me, it's no different to an alcoholic being like, "Oh, it's Christmas, I've got a drink," or a fucking crack addict being like, "Oh, it's Christmas, so
yeah, I may as well fucking may
as well send it."
100%. It's just like, be within reason.
If you're at a point where your Christmas is starting to look like that, where you need someone to say, hey, memories over macros, like don't dare touch, don't dare go near being responsible for your food choices. That to me says there is an ownership problem around your actual association with food and what cultural eating actually means. Because like when we look at it, yes, and I've said this to most of my clients when they have issues around food consumption and stuff, they just want to stick to the same bland foods. Food in Australia means a lot more than just simply being fuel. And I, of all people, will agree to that. However, I'm also the first person to say it's calories in versus calories out. But food in Australia is something that we use to pass pastimes, interactions, social events, cultural significant histories, and fucking situations. There's nothing more significant than a fucking Bunnings barbecue. Mm-hmm. Like food means shit in different contexts, social situations, cultures, all sort of jazz. We shouldn't, though, be at a point where we're justifying binging and poor eating consumption and poor food choices and fucking debilitating disorders by saying this day doesn't matter. Because all that says to me is that you had some hyped up reason to overconsume food and now you're going to try and validate your choice.
Yeah.
Why? Who are you telling? Who are you convincing of this?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, everyone's goal at Christmas time is different. So trying to tell people, hey, don't track at Christmas time, you're a fucking piece of shit. It's meant to be fun. Why is someone else's food choices important to you? At the same time, someone's saying, hey, track everything at Christmas time.
Well, it's funny. And this is my argument to people that say you don't need to calorie bank or don't calorie bank on, especially on events like Christmas. But it's like, how can you think that you're able to track, to the number or to the T when you're not the one cooking? Let's be real. You're going to an event, probably a family event, hopefully, and someone else is prepping the food. So it's like, you don't know what's in that. You're going to have to eyeball it. And if you're eyeballing it, guess what you're doing? You're banking your calories because you're going to want to leave some extras, right? Like literally. And it's like
adults 20% rule.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But even then, you start even adding, and then you bank more because you want to plan for the worst case scenario. Like you said, that 20% more. So it's like, dude, it's like, especially if you're dieting and you're like, oh, I'm only on 150 carb, for example. And it's like, okay, well, for the next 5 days, take fucking 30 grams of carbs out, eat 30 grams less per day, and on there you have an extra fucking 150 grams of carbs. Now you have 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to then, when you guesstimate, work with 300 grams of carbs. Like, sweet, you're
Yes.
done. Like, you're sorted. Like, this
Yeah.
works. You do it for that day, and guess what? The next day, you go back to the plan.
Yeah.
Like,
And it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that. And if you don't want to do that, there are other strategies to execute. But at the same time, digging at people who are choosing to track, if you're a coach taking money and you're like, you got strategies for weight loss or plans, and someone says to you, hey, you know what? I actually want to be pretty adherent because last few Christmases I've just got written off, been drunk, eating shit food, feel crap the next few days, end up in the whole like Christmas, New Year gap where I just eat like shit, drink like shit, and eat all the leftovers. Okay, cool. You just go into that person, hey, don't worry about it. You're not allowed to track this week. What do you fucking mean? Like you're taking their money with a plan and you've got a goal and they're saying body composition is the outcome. Okay, cool. Give them strategies to go into Christmas.
100%.
Tracking is one of them. Fucking plate management is another one. Calorie banking is one. Fucking activity during the day. Okay, make sure you get steps. Train the day before and the day after. Be active on the day. Make sure you're sleeping properly. Make sure you're fucking having plenty of water because there's going to be alcohol and dehydration.
Yeah.
All that shit. Make sure there's fucking fiber on your plate so you're full first. Okay, all that stuff is going to be some form of nutritional literacy or tracking to a degree because you're tracking something. Am I aware of what's on the plate? Am I aware of my calories the days before and after? Have I banked calories up? Have I saved calories? Fucking another one is protein sparing fast. Just eat all protein in the morning until you get to lunch. You'll be so full, but have such little calories that the likelihood of overeating is it's impossible.
That's it's literally my favorite way to sort of diet in general. Because I don't like dieting for that long.
Exactly. And it's just it's so fucking weird that we are in a phase where we're willing to take people's money for an outcome specifically. And then we're also at the same time saying, hey, this specific day doesn't matter. Don't do the same shit you've been doing.
Yeah, and again, this is always going to be, client dependent, right? We know that. It's like we're talking about clients that have very specific goals, and if the goal happens to run through the Christmas period, then that's the case. Yep. And if you're not one of those clients, then fucking have at it. It's like go nuts. You don't need to necessarily track if that's not, I guess, beneficial to your goal. If your goal is maintenance, for example, or if your goal is, weight loss over a slow period of time, or like whatever it is, if you don't have a time limit or have something in place, whatever it is, or like it's a very different story. Like we're obviously speaking about much more specific clientele, and then coaches, I guess, suggesting that even those clients shouldn't do this and that, and it's like, no.
Yeah, and that to me then becomes the difference between why you'll never work with those client types, or you should not like even delve into that lane because you're taking people.
It also speaks to the volume of the coach not getting results. Like,
yes,
sorry, bro. Like that's your job is to get a result.
Yes, like that's what I mean. Like you're stepping into a realm you either haven't been in before or won't get much result in because you're justifying to clients that it's okay for whatever holiday comes up that it doesn't matter.
And they're the ones that become mindset coaches.
Yes, exactly right. And just they should accept beauty they're beautiful and they're empowered and they're this and that.
It's okay that you've put on 10 kilos of visceral fat and your organs are very unhealthy and that you've just increased your mobility rate, increased your mobility rate and going to die much earlier than what you were going to because you decided to eat like.
But you feel good at the time, and you took no responsibility for your results over that period of time.
Yeah,
but that to me is like it's the issue that I draw. At the end of the day, everyone's goal is unique come Christmas time or any holiday point of time. Like we could get down to the nitty gritty of literally picking apart any fucking holiday. To me, once you start justifying irrational behavior around one holiday, where does it stop where you start to justify it for other holidays? It's the same way that like an example, and a very extreme example, is like an alcoholic will justify drinking at a certain period of time of the day or hiding alcohol around the house or having alcohol at certain periods of time of work. Once you start rationalizing and justifying a behavior when you have a specific outcome that you're trying to achieve, you then start to validate and say that it's okay to repeat that behavior at the similar circumstance, or you start to bend that circumstance to make it fit that rational choice. Yeah. Well, I care about Easter and therefore I want to get drunk and eat fucking 20 kilos of chocolate. Do you really care about Easter? You're a grown person and you're not fucking religious. Do you really care about Easter or 100%. Echo Show Day or Queen's birthday or like, where does the string stop when you start to rationalize those behaviors?
Yeah, where do you draw the line? Like, come on.
Exactly right. If you just simply go, you know what, I'm going to stay within this realm. And this is why like a really easy strategy is I get people to come up with their criteria for success. If you know that you go to most Christmas events and you stuff your face or you feel like spewing up, can I get you to at least set like a 1 plate rule or maybe 1.5 plates or like 1 entree and 1 main plate? Can you do that? If that's all you do and that's all we control, great. But we're controlling something to get you a result. If we know that you usually have loose control and you're no control in previous scenarios or fucking years gone by, can you give me a criteria that you can stick to? Because cognitively, once we set that criteria down, it's an extra cognitive distance or mental point to jump over that boundary. And it takes more mental framework or more mental work to stretch that bandwidth and go, well, I set this criteria. I'm just going to go past it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Because then that becomes like the guilt, the shame. It shouldn't be guilt or shame, but it starts becoming like, oh, I've let Ben down. I've let myself down. Or
well, you're human, and that's what happens. Yeah, you have this human emotion, right? Like you don't want to let whoever it is that you're, I guess working with down in a sense, but it's like you're not letting them, it's not letting them down, and not even, I guess, letting yourself down to a degree. It's just, hey, like, hold yourself accountable. You're an adult.
Yeah, it's just creating a criteria to stick to. That's really like,
like you're whether I'm in guidelines for yourself.
Sport, there's always a criteria for success. So in this instance, just creating that.
It's like it's a part of growing up. Like you don't have other people setting the boundaries for you these days. It's like you have a framework to work with because it's educational. Like we're teaching you how to do this, but at the end of the day, we don't do it for you. Like you need to do it.
Yes, exactly right. And I'll be there to help you do it, but at the same time,
exactly, I
can't stop the fork being in your mouth. I can't take the food off your plate. You can. That's 100%. It. So exactly. If the food's on there, no one had a gun to your head. There wasn't fucking Santa coming down the chimney being like, "Oh, you motherfucker, eat all this food." It was just
you can say no.
Yeah, you can say no. You can learn to say no. Oh, I only brought a 6-pack. Stop at the 6-pack. I only brought fucking, I only want to have one plate of food. When someone starts offering seconds and thirds and desserts, you go, I just want one. I'm good.
Yeah. Like they're not gonna get offended. Like,
no one is offended by it. Oh, you don't like my food? No, I'm just fucking full. I'm a grown adult who made a choice.
Yeah, put it in a fucking doggy bag. I'll take it home and I'll eat it tomorrow. Done. Sorted. You got the next day's fucking food sorted. You're welcome.
Hang on.
Anyway, questions? What do we got?
Let's do some questions. No question is proud of you for putting another question box. You're fucked.
Finally.
How hard / long was the wank after CBum 1? I'm like, well, it was already expected, so it was quick.
I mean, we're talking about after.
Well, this was during. There was like 10 people around in my house.
Before and during, clearly. Like, you don't know me.
Yeah, and after. The after was crying.
Yeah.
Predictions for fitness trends to become popular and die in 23.
I didn't even know what they were this year. Were there any? Because I feel like gyms were closed.
Mindset coaches.
Yeah, true. That was a thing.
I feel like that really became a thing.
Yeah, that became a thing.
The trend that I've seen take off is the and it's gonna sound sexist, but it's not because I just haven't seen men do it, is the female empowerment photo shoots.
Yeah.
I don't know where, I don't know if it's just up here, but it's really taken off where like.
Well, I mean, Queensland's got nice weather.
Yeah.
So it's a good spot to do
like,
them.
It's, unless I don't know the male coaches that are doing it, I just don't know male coaches that are doing it.
Yeah, you just don't follow anyone that actually does it, obviously.
Maybe they do it, but like all I see mostly are like the female ones.
It's a funny one. It's like, I'm all for the encouragement of, change, because I guess that's what you're doing, right? You're helping someone change a lot of things, not just obviously the physique, but obviously the mental approach to that physique, and hopefully some lifestyle habits and creating better habits and healthy habits, and you want to celebrate that, and I'm all for that. So it's just, I guess, if you go over the top and you're doing it every other week, or it's like the same people over and over, and then it just gets probably a little bit like cringy. But I mean, every now and then it's like, I guess it's a touch.
If it's a team end goal, like I know the STC guys do that with their team. Like that's a good way to set up like a buy-in. Is like, hey, at this date we have this. If that's what you want to do,
and it's also letting other people, they're not alone in their goal, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like you're doing it as a team. So
yeah,
I can understand that. I guess but you're right. I mean, I haven't seen it here so much in Melbourne, but I have seen it quite a bit, in Queensland and stuff. A couple of the females.
That's become a bit of a trend up here. I've noticed. A trend that I hope dies in 23. I mean, there's so many like gut health coaches, people talking about microbiomes when they definitely shouldn't.
I've got people talking about fucking toxins all day, every day, like toxin this, toxin that. Don't wear deodorant. Well, don't use fucking soap for your washing your clothes. It creates toxins. It lowers your estrogen. Like, oh, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, no, it doesn't do that.
Drink your own pee to re-sterilize your body and realkaline.
Yeah, don't drink out of plastic because of phytoestrogens and shit. It's like you can't even spell phytoestrogen. Shut up.
hip hop anonymous.
Yeah, literally, it's just the same fucking regurgitated shit from people. I guess there was that whole patch of time where physios were all doing the same treatment on like different people. That was always fun to watch.
Yeah,
Like,
we had a rant on that one.
yeah, like, oh, you have a calf injury. Let me put some needles in your shoulder. That's gonna fix it. Fucking box, man.
Yeah, one that I hope dies. I mean, in my realm of things, I do hope like the mindset coach dies, because just because you're a fucking 22-year-old female who's got a few followers doesn't mean you have the right, let alone the qualifications to discuss mindsets or lifestyles or what that even means. Like, you're not even paying rent to mum and dad's house yet, so shut up.
I think for me, when I look at like, if we're going to look at sort of the categories, or I guess the fields we work in, the funny thing, the last couple of months, I think the trend that I've seen a lot of the time would be coaches starting to talk about. First, it was like trying to get as optimal as possible, whether it be in training, like exercise selection, all that sort of stuff, or health wise, feeling as optimal as possible. And then we've got either those coaches or either the same coaches, or now we have other coaches criticizing these coaches for wanting to try and be optimal. And it's like, we've got coaches now teasing other coaches for wanting to like introduce biomechanics and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, hold on, hold
up.
Dickhead. It's not to say that what the person said is wrong. Like there is a time and a place to obviously, train hard. And there's going to be times and places where you're not optimal. It doesn't mean you don't strive for optimal.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you don't try and pursue optimal. Do you let the idea of not being optimal get in your way? No, difference. However, it doesn't mean that you don't try to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep and get your food in and feel good so that you have the best training session possible. It doesn't mean that you try and get the most optimal out of your training, whether that be changing a pulley up and down, or whether that be changing a movement because you feel it a little bit better, or like blah, 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 blah. Because if it yields a result at the end of the day, guess what? No one gives a fuck about you, bro. So it's just funny watching these coaches like start preaching all this stuff and start talking about it, and then start criticizing coaches who preach it. It's like, hold on, you're a fucking idiot. You're a dumb shit.
I'd like to see the evidence-based crowd, that being like the ones who claim to be the like founders or fucking fathers of that sort of game, back off the ego. I'd like to see that die. Like,
that'll never happen.
It'll never happen. But being able to say that you're evidence-based, but also not understand how to apply that evidence-based into a real-world populace just shits me. Like, you can't tell a mum who's trying to be an athlete again, or a mum who's trying to be a bodybuilder again, that she's got to get 9 hours sleep and she's a piece of shit if she's not training 6 days a week, 2 sets to failure, and she's not making her food fresh every day, while she's also got 2 kids and a job, and she's got to get the kids to school and feed the kids and one to daycare, and dad's got fucking FIFO and 2 jobs and fucking yada yada. Like, you have to be able to take optimal and work it back to your populace. And for some reason, it's like, well, it's not, like you said, if it's not optimal, it's not worth doing. Well, it still is. Like, it's still worth aiming for. But at the same time, you've got to be able to apply it to the person.
Exactly right. And like I said, just because you aim for it doesn't mean you let it get in the way if you're not.
Yeah.
Like that's, I think, maybe the miscommunication.
There's no point training doing anything if I can't do 5 days a week. Well, you can do
and it's like, well, it's like, oh, I only had 5 hours of sleep last night instead of 8, so I can't train today. It's like, I mean, you can. It may suck, but you can still train. You're still going to get a good result. Like,
you're going to do something.
Yeah, like fuck. But I think that's where that whole miscommunication thing happens, where people are like trying to criticize criticize everyone that's trying to claim or be optimal, I guess. But I think they haven't realized that. I mean, the idea of being optimal or getting too optimal doesn't stop you from still doing what you do. It's like, there's nothing wrong with trying to be as perfect as possible, because we know that perfect is unachievable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you don't pursue it.
Like,
exactly that's how it makes you better.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, if you're actively trying to be perfect about things, if you're not becoming fixated on perfection, but simply aiming for perfection, at the worst case, you achieve progress.
Yeah, exactly right.
What qualifications do you think should be mandatory for all coaches to have?
No.
I mean, it's a really hard one to answer, considering everyone's like different realms, different like populaces. Like, there should be bare minimums of coaching courses or qualifications, but at the same time, like, there's so much variety in different fields. Like, if you're going to work with mums or like post-pregnancy mums, probably have like a that course. If you're going to work with nutrition, like, still have some education in nutrition. If you're going to work with, like, start talking about gut microbiomes, you've never even looked at fucking biology in your life, like, probably stop. If you're,
Yeah,
there's
it's a
things where there's like some bare minimums, like your general PT, like that isn't enough.
yeah,
But I
it's
do
like
know a course coming out that you should probably have if you're a bare minimum coach. Just saying.
yeah. I mean, it's like people say, what qualifications should you have to be a coach? What kind of coach? You want to be a
Yeah.
PT? You want to be a specific coach? You're like, if you've never done it before, then you need a Cert 3, Cert 4, get on the gym floor, start coaching people.
Yes.
Start coaching Gen Pop and get a feel for that and just seeing what you like and don't like. It's really, really simple. Don't go from, Cert 3, Cert 4 to directly online.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never coached before, then it's like you're just going to be hit with some real tricky shit.
Yep.
Nothing will ever beat in-person experience. And that's why I think a lot of the successful online coaches do so well, is because majority of them have been in-person PTs.
Yeah, they've learned those soft
the
skills
past.
that come with the game.
Yeah, and then that they've added to their skill set as time goes on.
Mhm.
There is so much shit to learn, you can't learn it all at once. And it's
Mhm.
like the best thing will be is you start coaching people and then you start to see a trend of potential issues that come up or sort of
Mhm.
clientele that you like to work with, and that'll also then help you pick what it is that you choose to learn going forward.
Mhm.
And that'll guide you in a sense to what it is that you want to do and potentially specialize in. So
Mhm.
to start with, you always start with like the broader picture, and then you start to go deeper and start to like narrow that vision as time goes on. But the thing is,
Mhm.
people don't realize it's as time goes on, and no one's got the patience to do it. So
Yep.
it's like you really need to invest time. Like a lot of the coaches that I know, like we've been in the industry. I've been PTing since I was fucking 18.
Mm.
I'm 34.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm only here where I am now because I've done so much back end work, before fucking even internet was a thing. Like online coaching wasn't a thing. I'd already had 10 years fucking experience.
Mm.
Like these are the things that happen. So it's like, what qualifications do you need? It's like fucking Cert 3, Cert 4 and get going. Start
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest hindrances. That's for any realm of like, if you start looking at imposter syndrome, is like, I'm never going to know enough, so I shouldn't do anything because I can't get started. Well, the best way to learn that you know enough is to get started and find out what you do and don't know, because then you can start to focus and fix it and improve. In just 12 months, what I went from knowing to not know, or not knowing to knowing, and what my systems knew to not knowing, what my spreadsheets needed and didn't need, like it's changed 71 times because we just got going and decided like, why wait 5 years? I need to do it now.
Well,
And
that's
let's
just
do
it.
it now and
And
start.
and that'll always happen. You'll run yourself into the ground trying to work out what qualifications you need before you actually fucking start. It's like
Yeah.
just start.
Yeah.
Just get your Cert 3, Cert 4. You got it. Sweet.
Yeah.
Start working. That's
But I
all
mean,
you
like,
need.
yeah, if you're probably going to start opening up a realm or like talking on a realm, probably have some background in it. Like, go study that realm.
In time. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, do it all in time, because it's funny. It's like theoretical knowledge is awesome, but it will never trump practical knowledge. And it's like there's so many people that have so much theoretical knowledge in things,
Mhm.
but they haven't been able to apply it. And if you can't apply it, then it's fucking moot. There's no
Mhm.
point in talking about it. It's like, cool, like, if this can't yield a result and you haven't had a tangible result, then why are you talking about it?
Mhm.
Like, don't bother. Like, yeah, like it's cool to maybe think about, and you want to open up people's minds to, different thought processes, sure. But same time, if you're preaching something but you've never actually had it in effect,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah. Exactly. Tips for planning your week day out and not getting flustered over it. Tips for planning your week day out and not getting flustered over it.
I'm assuming Christmas Day.
Tips for planning your week day out. There's nothing about Christmas
Oh,
about, but
I think, I don't know. Just calorie bank is what we do.
yeah, calorie bank, plan
It's un
ahead.
it's
Have your food
unhealthy.
cooked. Like if you're
It'll give you food, probably give you does it eating disorder.
Yeah, just don't do that. Don't have strawberries because it's an eating disorder.
100%.
It depends on the intensity of your diet too. Like I often, if I'm in a very heavy diet phase, I'll pre-cook all my food and I'll just go somewhere. If something's on, I will go there, make sure that it fits around my schedule and that I've obviously got the time ahead of time to know that what I'm supposed to do. But also like if I'm in a very regimented part of dieting or cutting, I don't do shit. Like I'm not going to places where I can't control things. I just don't like it. I know other people do, but like I'll go see a movie because I can take food that's pre-made. I can bring a drink in. I can track the food that's there. I can bring lollies and weigh them out. But if it's a variance that I just can't be pre-prepared for,
Mhm.
if I'm in like prep, for instance, I'm just not doing that. It's just not
No,
going to
of
happen.
course. Exactly right.
I got actually got two more that are actually pretty good. Where did it go? Here we go. Question's a bit too long for the box. Oh, here we go. With obesity, is it the changes in physical activity and nutrition that improve health outcomes, or is it the resulting change in body weight that occurs because of the change in physical activity and nutrition that improves health outcomes? Or I think more likely, is it both? Another way to put it is, it might
Yeah, I
be,
get it.
is obesity of a symptom, is obesity a symptom of poor health or cause of it?
Yeah, I mean that can be argued left, right, and center for until the end of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's both. They both work
Yeah.
they both work hand in hand.
Yeah.
You can't. It's funny, depending on the severity of obesity, because you can still create a diet intervention and still drop body weight.
Hmm.
However, and that will in turn have a positive effect on your physiology. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. To what effect? You know, I guess it varies based on person to person, and it's kind of like covering all aspects of health. It's like, well, why not do both and keep you as healthy as fucking possible, right?
Yeah.
Um, like we know that from a biological perspective, the bigger you are, the sooner you die.
Hmm.
So you will have hopefully a longer life
Hmm.
when you do lose weight, whether that be without physical activity, or whether it just be with a diet intervention. It just so happens that obviously with exercise and whatnot, you do also negate hopefully like little cosmetic things potentially, like loose skin and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
As well as the net positive effects that it has on your physiology, your heart health, your lung efficiency and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, as well as blood flow and all that sort of stuff that um, probably wouldn't be as effective or probably wouldn't be as positive, even if it was just a diet intervention. So I feel like you would need some form of physical health in there to increase the efficiency of your heart and your lungs.
Yeah. And then you've
Even though,
also got like the largest risk factors to damage to the elderly and stuff like that is fall capacity, which is like,
yeah,
the less strength you have, the less muscle mass you have, the greater that you start the decline at, or the greater level, I guess, of muscle mass and strength you have to the start of the decline, obviously the better you're going to be closer to the end because you have more to lose, as opposed to like, well, if I've got nothing already, 0 - 10 is -10. Like
yeah,
if you're at a stage of like, age where it's like, oh, gyms fucking no, like losers train and blah blah blah. Also, I need 5 wheelchairs, 3 fucking canes, and 2 fucking help me ups to get out of bed in the morning. Well, okay, you made fun of me for going to the gym, but also like that shouldn't be how you have to live. So you got all those like health benefits that come in longevity of just being able to move and be active and stuff with training into old age as well as now, that will offset the risks of obesity, which then becomes like, the heavier you are, the more burden on your joints and bones and heart, the harder it is to get back up, the harder it is to move. Like deaths occur in old people because they just can't get back up.
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, the lighter you are, the longer you live.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's a pretty stock standard response.
I guess it's like kind of a chicken or an egg scenario, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, this is a good one. With the way men are being emasculated, one's self-stand is lowered, and the general population becoming weak and seeking the easy route, are we seeing the end of truly great athletes, your Seabums, Messi's, Clearys, etc., and their great achievements?
No, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think great is great.
Yeah.
I just think so. Having this conversation the other day, actually, I think that we have been so lucky to live in the time that we have and had
Hmm.
some of the most amazing sporting feats occur.
Hmm.
Most amazing sporting feats like occur in our lifetime.
Hmm.
I don't think it'll be replicated, or I don't think you'll see this much or this type of contingent
Hmm.
of like, I guess, athletic ability and athletic greatness again. I mean, that's just a personal opinion, right? Like, I don't see like in 100 years when we're dead, I don't think you're going to see like the amount of prowess in
Yeah.
athletes across a wide range of sports
Hmm.
doing so well and doing as well as they are. I just don't think it's going to happen. We're starting to see a little bit of it, like for example, like in the female tennis game, like we've seen, Serena Williams dominate for however
Hmm.
long, and now it's a new number one every 3 fucking weeks.
Yeah.
Like you had Ash Barty that was there for quite a while, and then you had
Yeah.
like, but we will never see that streak again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we've had, like I guess in golf, like we've had like Rory McIlroy just be number one for his 100 and something week or whatever it
Hmm.
is. Awesome. Tiger Woods was 680 weeks. Like we
Yeah.
won't see that again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Jordan, LeBron, like Kobe. Then you go through like NFL. You can go through like you can go through baseball. You can go through all these different sports. They've all had their greats, and their greats have been so dominant. I just don't
Yeah.
think you'll see that again.
Yeah.
And whether that's because the level has gone up across the board, or
Mhm.
whether we just haven't seen that person that sticks up above everyone else. We'll find
Yeah.
out. But yeah, I just don't think we're
Yeah.
going to see the level of dominance we have, like Usain Bolt. Like, I'm not going to see another Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Like,
Yeah.
someone's going to be so dominant across 3 Olympics. Like,
And I think too the it's not just the single feat or achievement, it's the continuation of that achievement.
yeah,
Like
it's the
to be
longevity
at
of
the
how
top,
they've done it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not only
yeah,
to be at the top, but be at the top as that for that long, where you're like obviously when skill and talent moves up, like we can strip back the Olympic sprint record. If you were to strip back the average sprint improvement, I think Sports Science has like the average sprint from like the 1960s when like sprint science really
yeah,
started to
yeah.
take
Started.
off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like 0.6 seconds
yeah,
difference if you took everything away, like
yeah.
hard turf instead of gravel,
Hmm.
cleats and boots instead of like bare feet,
Hmm.
aerodynamic sprint
Hmm.
suits,
Yeah, all of it. There's
training science,
there's
all
not
that stuff.
much. Yeah,
You take that away, it's barely improved. But I don't think the like so obviously we're seeing that level raise, like that standards raising. I don't think that expansion of science is going to continue to happen to keep making everyone that much better.
yeah,
So that they're like, I can't see it going either way. You're going to have everyone at the same bar because everyone has access to the same information, the same data and stuff at the top. Like the money's there now, so like
yeah,
everyone generally has the same access.
yeah.
But then that also leads to the one person standing out and just
But
purely genetically being
and
better.
that's what I'm saying. I don't think we're going to see that genetic freak or the
Yeah,
amount of genetic freaks we have had in our lifetime. I don't
yeah,
think you're going to see that again. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're not going to get genetic freaks because you are,
yeah.
but
You
the
always will.
amount that we've had,
Yeah,
I just don't think that that's going to happen again
yeah,
for fucking who knows how long.
yeah.
It's just that
Like
we've lived in a time where we've been so lucky to see
yeah.
so much fucking incredible shit.
It's just and like the thing too is it comes back to the fact that most of it hadn't been done before. Like a rule's been changed and it hasn't been able to be done before. And we've gone through such an expansion in sports and their rules and their like the athletics ability. Like at a certain point, seeing someone shoot so many threes or someone get so many hole in ones or someone
Yeah.
hit like the big wave in Hawaii or someone be such a dominant kicker like Andrew Johns, like at a certain point, those things hadn't been done before. So therefore the person doing it in this realm for so long, it's such an amazing feat. You might get someone reach their record eventually down the track, but it's like, okay, you got like that is set up for you to do that now. Back then, it was brand new. It hadn't been
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
No one knew
exactly.
it.
It's been created.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think we will ever get a patch or period of time
yeah.
where we're going to see such dominance. Like fucking as controversial as you might think it is, it's like Lance Armstrong. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to get
13,
someone. Yeah,
11?
I thought it was I thought it might have been a touch less. I thought it was 7 or 8, but
Actually, it might be
whatever.
7. I think I'm thinking of the
Yeah,
number of people who didn't cheat. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like,
Yes.
yeah, you know what I mean. You're not going to see that level of
Mhm.
excellence across like a span of time. It's just not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah. I agree.
Anyway,
But that is all I have there.
very good. The only one I got is best and worst Christmas present.
Best and worst Christmas present. Um, Best and worst Christmas present.
Yeah,
Oh, the linked Africa set every time.
I don't get that in. Oh, I do. I do have an auntie that gets me aftershave every Christmas, but it's not usually the best, and I've got a lot of them. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the worst present though.
That used to be one I get.
I think of the worst present. Like I don't really get. It's funny. I don't really get bad presents. I can't really think of a worst present, if that makes sense. Like,
Oh, yeah, I can't
oh,
really.
like yeah, I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a
Like
worst, and I
the
don't.
last 10 years, like I've not really needed much, so I just sort of say something that I would enjoy. But it's like if you get it, you get it. If you don't,
I'm pretty fortunate. My family just gives me cash or vouchers, so it makes my
yeah.
life really easy because I like cash and vouchers because I can pick what I want.
That's kind of like where our Christmas got to. So everyone just sort of stopped doing it because like, well, we're just exchanging money at this point. Like,
Yeah, well, it's funny because my auntie is the type to be like, I don't want to give you a voucher. I want to give you something that's personal. But I'm like, yeah, ask me what I want. I told you what I want. You don't want to give it to me. That's a problem. Like, don't ask
yeah,
me what I want.
you know
Like,
what I want. Here's the answer.
it defeats the purpose. Like, I want
You know
this
what a
because
cyclical question is.
yeah, like I want this because I can spend it on whatever I want. You can pick the shop. Like, here, get me a fucking Maya voucher. Done. I'll
Yeah,
go spend it at Maya. Just give me the
yeah.
voucher. I'm like, no, I want to get you something. What do you want from Maya? I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm telling
I
you to
haven't
give
been
me.
there to look.
That's why I'm telling you to give me the voucher, and I'll go buy it.
That's fair. That's fair call.
Anyway, well, we've been rambling along for a while now, so
Indeed.
let us wrap it up there.
Mhm.
As always, for those listening, have a Merry Christmas.
Don't
We
track your
will
food. Don't do all the
don't track your food. Yeah, 100%. And for those that need to, make sure you track your food. And make sure you stick to your diet. Nah, I'll be in
You do
Dubai
you.
next one we do. So this should be interesting for the time difference.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
So we'll do a New Year wrap up, I guess, next week.
Yeah,
We
sounds
did
good.
Christmas wrap up, New Year wrap up next week.
Yeah. Who stuck to their diet? That's going to be the question box.
Yeah,
next week.
100%. 100%. Send us messages. We'll put that in the question box.
Yep.
Put it on the mirror.
Yeah, that's on the mirror. You're all being held accountable.
See who did and didn't cheat on their diet.
Who tracked Christmas?
It's going to be one of the questions in the question box.
Done.
All right, gang.
All right,
As
guys.
always, thanks for tuning in. We will have a
Thank
chat
you.
with you next week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and goodbye.